In November of 2009, I made a journey to Shrinagar in the Kashmir Valley. I went as a tourist, expecting to gaze only at the surface, but soon found myself invited to dive deep into its heart. I had a camera with me, and although I had no plan to film anything other than scenery, as one chance encounter led to another, I was encouraged to record some of the conversations. I knew something of the tension between India and Pakistan and their long-standing violent dispute over the region, and the desire of Kashmiris to have their own voice included in any negotiations about its future. What I didn't know, and was particularly interested in, was how deeply it was felt that a Sufi approach to Islam offered such great potential for the future and as a way of finding a path out of conflict. Many of the more tolerant aspects of Islamic thought are in danger of being drowned out by the shrill cry of extremism. In one meeting after another, from Mr. Khan the tailor, through the president of the Kashmir Sufism Society, to Mirwais Umar Farooq, spiritual leader of Kashmir's Muslims and chairman of the all-party Hurriyat Conference, a picture emerged of a land seeking to move on from violence and look forward to a peaceful future, and of lessons to be learnt not just in relation to Kashmir, but in a wider context as well.
I saw love beyond religion and blasphemy. Yes, I saw it. Devoid of uncertainty and doubt. If there is religion, blasphemy, doubt and uncertainty, I saw them all in companionship with reason. Be a lover and take flight. There is no other way to freedom. You are life, and the heart of life. You are the center of heart. The desire to unite with you never weakens. Like the ocean that never empties in the garden of the body, for the bird of life, your image is the seed and trap of heart. Heart is the pearl, and body the shell. Break the shell and seek the pearl.
I was invited to attend the Eid sermon at the Jamal Masjid Mosque, and then to interview the Mirwais himself. Since the age of 16, when his father was assassinated, Umar Farooq has been the chief priest of the mosque, spiritual leader of Kashmiri Muslims, and also chairman of the 26-party Hurriyat Conference, which brings together a broad range of opposition and separatist opinion under one umbrella, with a common aim to find an effective political settlement to the problems of Kashmir. Mirwais Farooq delivered a 2-hour sermon off the cuff in 3 languages to 25,000 people in an atmosphere of intense devotion and concentration. The following day, I was able to meet with him at his home.
So right from 1931, you can say there has been, more or less, there has been 2 views of political theory have come up. One is the pro-India National Conference, which was always seen as being backed by India and by the Sheikh Abdullah family, and on the other hand there was the Muslim Conference, or the Awami Action Committee, which was backed by my father, more or less seen as a pro-Pakistan group. So then, unfortunately, in 1990, my father was assassinated, in the very same house, and then I had to take over the mantle. I mean, I was only 16 at that time. When my father was assassinated, so I had to take over the religious responsibility of the Mirwais as well as the head of my party. So the Hurriyat Conference, you can say, is the largest amalgam, the pro-freedom amalgam in Kashmir. We have an observer status in the OIC, the 52 member countries of the Muslim world, which is the largest, second biggest forum after the United Nations. So we have an observer status there. Hurriyat Conference believes in a negotiated settlement on Kashmir vis-a-vis India, Pakistan and Kashmir.
You're chairman of this conference. It seems a crucial step that you've managed to bring together such
It was quite difficult, honestly, because, the moment at that time when we brought along these parties together, there was a lot of conflict within the pro-freedom camp. There were some parties who were supporting accession with Pakistan. There were some parties who were calling for a complete independent Jammu and Kashmir. So there was a lot of clashes between the 2 ideologies. So it was difficult for us to bring all the parties on board. I was only 17 at that time because, I took over as basically as the Mirwais. The Mirwais is a Persian term. It consists of 2 words, the Mir and Wais. Mir means head and Wais means a priest. So you can say that my title, basically, apart from the political role I have, basically my family has been associated with preaching Islam in the valley. And as you might know, that Islam came to valley from Iran, from Persia, through Sufis, through saints, especially the great Sufi, Hazrat we call Shah Hamadan, Mir Sayyid Ali Hamadani. When he came, he brought along with himself a group of preachers, a group of teachers who would preach in different parts of the valley. And Kashmir is the only place in the subcontinent where Islam did not come through conquest. It came through teachings, not through the sword, not through any intimidation. It was basically a very quiet and peaceful movement of Islam, conversion of Islam. So you can say that the Mirwais has always been associated with the people, not in terms of only religious preachings, but also moral education, social issues, societal issues. And then, of course, because politics forms a very important part of society, it has been a difficult time for so many families. Like ours, so many people have suffered. We have lost more than 60, 70,000 people in the last 20 years. And, children, mothers, fathers, brothers have laid down their lives. So, whether my political role or whether my religious role, I think basically it boils down to helping the people, yeah, to guiding them towards the right path.
Umar Farooq is at the very front of political debate, but I found balance and wisdom in many of the people I met. Mr. Khan is a tailor with an old established family business. His point of view has no political angle, but articulated the sentiments of many ordinary Kashmiris.
But pray for us. I always tell the people, just pray for us. People like Kashmir to be peaceful. Everything was stopped. Where, I can say nobody, there is no house which has not suffered. Every member, every family, brother or any cousin brother was killed, innocent. I cannot blame only to the forces. It's from the both sides. And some people, some young boys were misled by some elements. Even now, some elements are using those young boys. Islam does not allow to kill innocent people, whether he's non-Muslim or from any community. Islam says your behavior, you should be kind to your humanity. All human beings are same. You should have a good character. It's not only we go to mosque and pray there. It is if you are good with the common people, with the neighbors. If your neighbor is not safe from your side, you are not a good Muslim. You are not at all, you are not a Muslim. A Muslim is, first of all, he must be a human being. If he is not a human being, then it hardly matters he is a Muslim or not. Islam says you must speak truth. When I say this is truth, I have to follow it. I cannot be a little bit, I will say that is not. Islam is not that. When you see the right thing, you must say it's right. If you see something wrong, you must say it's wrong. Jihad is not just to kill somebody, just to fight with a sword or a gun. It is first we have to fight with ourselves, my own soul, body. And then I have to look after my family, my house, who is living there. If I have to make them a good human being, I have to guide them properly. Then I can do something around me, I cannot say somebody is doing something wrong and I'm going to kill him. I have to just guide him. I have to explain him what is right, what is wrong. Come on, sit here, we will talk, we will have a meeting. It's not just what we have misled this jihad. Jihad is meaning a struggle. Struggle for something is called jihad. It's not just to fight. This is wrong meaning of this. If you will go to any a good scholar of Islam, he will explain you jihad does not mean to fight with somebody.
And I wonder if you'd say something.
Definitely, unfortunately, as rightly said, that this word has been completely, misconstrued and misunderstood, in the sense that basically when you talk about jihad, the bigger jihad, one is what we call the jihad with the sword, what we call jihad with the weapon. But the Prophet says that the bigger jihad, the God said the bigger jihad is the jihad with your own self, what we call jihad bin nafs. That you try to overcome your own personal ambitions, and you try to streamline your thoughts, your aspirations, and your commitment towards yourself and towards the Almighty. Basically, if you talk about the jihad is basically indulging yourself in a process of purification. You purify your soul, you purify your thoughts, and you try to do good deeds. If a person is, if he is able to be good in nature and try to reach out to the people and with a helping hand, with help and with sincerity, I think that he ceases to do harm to others. If you purify yourself and you purify your soul and your body, I mean, you are in the line of your God. I mean, you follow the instructions of your God and you purify yourself. You can't do any harm to any others. You have to be associated with the Lord in the sense that you have to build a connection with the God, and you have to follow the instructions. People talk about jihad on the one hand. On the other hand, they are the ones who don't know anything about how do we associate ourselves with our Lord. It's not only by just dying and by these suicide bombs and by these. Here we have a situation that people don't know. They don't know. The only thing they know is that we die for the cause of Islam, and that's it. That's not what the Prophet wants people to live. He doesn't want the people to die. The Lord wants people that the Lord has given them the gift of life, and that life is to be fully utilized in the service of others, in the service of the Lord, in the service of the Almighty. I mean, it's very easy to go and kill yourself, but it's very difficult to live the life which God has transcribed for you in His holy book, and says that you have to live your life according to certain guidelines. You have to, for example, if you look at the Prophet's hadiths, so many hadiths that where he says that it's better if you raise your children and give them proper education, proper moral guidance, and they become good members of society. It's better than doing jihad in the name of God and fighting in the name of Allah. It's better that you build institutions, you build a social structure, you give your sons, your daughters, guide them towards the right and make them understand the difference between the right and wrong, between false and truth. For example, there's a very strong institution of dawah, what we call preaching. Within the Islamic structure, and there are so many people. For example, we have this group of what we call the Tablighi Jamaat, the preachers, who go to different parts. They will go to far-flung areas and tell people, give them the message of Islam, give them the message of peace, love, brotherhood, understanding. And that's how it is. For example, I told you that how did Islam come to Kashmir? It didn't come through conquest. It came through learning, through teachings. I'm sure that if you have that inner strength, and if you believe in what you say, you will make that effect on the other guy, on the other person, that he will look into you and he'll see that yes, he's speaking the truth. I don't think you can force your way on the people. You can't impose yourself through violence or through means of other engagement. I believe it's first of all, you need to purify your own self. You need to be strong, but then you need to understand Islam. You need to be Islam in order to propagate Islam.
As well as holding a pivotal administrative position, responsible for media and information, Farooq Renzu Shah is a leading author and historian, and charismatic chairman of the Kashmir Sufism Society.
Violence is not good for paradise. It will be against the God's will that you will set this paradise on fire. The paradise which is only beautiful because God made it beautiful. People have been always receptive to the thought of oneness. But when 2 decades earlier this problem emerged, this problem of violence, it was basically something against our traditions. It was something against our conscience. It was something against our age-old civilization. Or you see the Jonah Raja's history, or you read the history of Raj Tarangani, you will find these problems have been there. But those people who have adopted the violence had a very short tenure. A violence has never a long track record. It has been only long track record for those administration and the rulers at the times who have really depicted the sentiments of the people. Kashmir had its own sultans, own kings. And the history of all the kings, you talk of Qutb-ud-Din, you talk of Shams-ud-Din, you talk of Sadr-ud-Din, the first king, the king Renzu Shah, was also a Sadr-ud-Din, who adopted Islam on the hands of Hazrat Bulbul Shah, was also Sadr, the most popular and the most loyal king, because he believed in oneness. After Bulbul Shah, Hazrat Amir Kabir came, the same thought of love, same thought of mutualness. No conflict was there. This Sufi thought based on the revolution of love. And this revolution started from 1321. A Buddhist king becoming the Muslim king, and the Hindu Rani, and the daughter of a the high priest, Brahmin priest, then the great scholar and the great state of Islam, under one umbrella living together. So it started from that point, living togetherness, having respect for each other's faith. The thought of violence has never been liked. Extremism has no scope in Kashmir. Maybe extremes like you see the roaring, the streams are shallow inside, but our lakes are, you see, very deep, but silent. So roaring never means that shallowness for Kashmir. Kashmir Sufi thought is very deep. It is deep to the level of thousands of seas, you see. So it is ocean of the people's thought, which matter. Maybe it is silent. But when this ocean emerged with the revulsion, these extremes melt away. Extremism has never withstood to face the thought of majority. Thought of majority is what I am speaking to you. A point is that when any society, whether it is US society also, if it is being taken ransom, or somebody takes you forcibly on the gunpoint and tells you say yes, you say yes. He tells you say no, you say no. So that is not your thought. That never emerges from your heart. You see the nozzle, and when you see the nozzle of a gun telling you yes, you say yes. Telling you no, you say. You remove it and see what people speak. Then you will find the real Kashmir.
After a long career as a writer and producer for Kashmiri television, leading environmental campaigner Zarif has become a much-loved poet and leading Sufi thinker. Here he extemporizes a rubaiyat, or quatrain, on an environmental theme.
Shabnaman Shahlavu Khan, Bekas Mazaras Prizihe, Van dit Gamuch Tim, Saki Kinit Loluk Sharab, Hun Adam Yus Chavantas, Hun Haras Prizihe, Ras Gumtian Havasan, Mianian Shumara Ashihe, Poshavani Jidari Talmeti, Kah Nigara Ashihe, Bulbula, Chamnas Agar, Parihen Harduk Tsurzan, Sontikan Shehlen Khayalan, Kut Bahara Ashihe, Kus Akha Vanhize Yitkin, Yemi Bepas Shahrij Delil, Kus Akha Vanhize Yitkin, Yemi Bepas Shahrij Delil, Kadne Mosum Dilasmaz, Tut Amara Ashihe, Be Asar Alav Zarifin, Rud Yudway Ruz Dan, Ashikhami Kuz Panis, Gatijaras Prizihe, Bekari Kuz Cham, Menis Kararas Prizihe, Kus Purumiyat Lokchariyat, Mosum Amaras Prizihe. Shukriya.
Because my mission is mission of love, which is universal. Whether it is from the Judaism, whether it is Christianism, Islam, Hinduism, and now even 6 gurus had come, gurus of 6, 30 Padshahi we have, 6th guru of Sikh has been in Kashmir. So there is no place on earth except this paradise which has to again emerge and tell people what we were telling 1321 from Hazrat Bulbul Shah's time, that be one. If conflict is to be erased, if we have to defeat the conflict, if we have to defeat the hate, adopt the path of love. This path of love will lead you to one globe. You are talking of the universe today. You are talking of going and conquering the moons and the Venus and the stars and the suns and the galaxies and galaxies. If we fail, the present generation fail in uniting the people, we have been the miserable generation on earth. The generation which will receive only condemnation. That this was the, unfortunately, a generation which came under the influence of those people who spread hate. What is the problem? Somewhere is the problem lies with the world people, that we are not receptive to the good thought. Somewhere there is a problem with the people of the world, that we are not receptive to the love. We enjoy more the conflict. I like to read that newspaper which is talking about the bomb blasts and the mine blasts and the deaths and that. I don't like to read that newspaper or that magazine or that literature which is talking about love and love and love. Go to the Sitaharan. Sitaharan is in the Biro, a place where there is a fountain of Sita, and at this nearby is the Bulbul Shah shrine, and nearby is the Sheikhul Alam's shrine. Why they were living together? What was the reason? These are the vivid examples that earlier these saints were always loving each other, and today world needs a strong message that come and join this revolution. Thank you.
At their source, all religions are based on a message of love and compassion. Too often we become distracted by a political agenda that leads us to argue over our differences rather than celebrate our similarities. I came to Kashmir intending to switch off for a bit, and instead found myself tuned in. I started to see the possibility that through a deeper understanding of some of the wise and thoughtful aspects of Islam, and indeed the core philosophy of other spiritual traditions, maybe we can begin to heal the wounds of the past and move forward.
Yahi